Happy September to you all. It's your boy Ed from TechSource. Welcome to... You know what? I'm not a boy. I'm a goddamn man, all right? It's your man, Ed from TechSource. Welcome to Setup Wars episode... That sounds cringe as hell, actually. You know what? Just cue the intro. Guys, we finally have an answer to those damn scalpers. What if I told you there's a program out there that will automatically scan all the stock from various websites out there and immediately notify you if a product comes back in stock? We're talking anything from CPUs to graphics cards and even consoles. Well, with today's sponsor, Stock Drops, that's possible. Stock Drops is a desktop app that runs in the background, continuously scanning the web for available stock. You can customize what stores you want Stock Drops to check and even pick which items to get notified on. Want to pick up the new PS5? No problem. Just make sure it's checked on the list. Or maybe you just want an RTX 3060 Ti. Also not a problem. On top of that, Stock Drops will let you auto check out to save time, which will increase your chances of actually buying the product. So the way they're able to do this is by offering a monthly subscription. The best plan to get is the Gold plan, since it allows for one auto checkout on Amazon per month for each Gold user max. The subscription and the limit is in place to avoid abuse from people using it to scalp others. The intended use for this is for the users to buy a graphics card once and be done with it, because after a successful checkout, the app won't let you check out automatically again. So if you guys are still looking for a PS5 or maybe even a graphics card with no luck, then definitely try out Stock Drops. You guys can click the link below and try it out yourself. All right, so kicking off the episode is Manuel from the UK and his super simple yet impressive dual stacked setup. Judging by the 49-inch Super Ultrawide monitor being on the bottom, I'm gonna guess this is primarily a productivity setup. But then again, I've seen people use their top monitor as a primary as well. So this is something I found out recently, and maybe it can be of use to you, Emmanuel, or anyone watching, but you can actually remove the taskbar from one of your monitors. That way it's not showing on both. In my opinion, it just looks a lot cleaner this way. So to do this, you have to go into your taskbar settings, scroll down, and make sure to check off the Show Taskbar on All Displays option. This will only show the taskbar on your main display. So the setup is actually built on a door frame that he picked up from Wix with a few Adil's legs from IKEA as support. I personally like those grooves inside the table because it adds a bit of design to an otherwise boring flat tabletop. We got that Logitech G513 carbon keyboard paired with the MX Master 2S, further validating that this is primarily a productivity setup. The only audio source is the HS70 headset from Corsair, but I do recommend picking up some nice looking speakers if you're gonna do some work, because it's always nice giving your ears a rest and listening to music from speakers while you're working. He did keep the surface and the desk somewhat minimal. There's an IKEA plant for a bit of decoration and some RGB lighting from a desk lamp. There's also a laptop on the other side for on-the-go editing, but the setup is powered by a custom PC that he keeps underneath the desk. It's got an 8700K paired with a GTX 980, but he stated in the notes that he'll be upgrading to an RTX card very soon. The green cables do throw off the color scheme quite a bit, but it's a nice build nonetheless and a pretty sweet setup to start off the show. Thank you, Manuel, for sharing this with us. Up next is Carlo from Manila, Philippines, and his beautiful multi-purpose setup. It's used for music production, rendering, and gaming. I just want to start off and say that I really appreciate these high quality photos of your submission. The setup is built on an IKEA motorized desk with two monitors mounted against it. We got the 27-inch Asus as the main display and a 24-inch in vertical mode for multitasking. One of the most satisfying things about this setup are the peripherals. The way he ran the coil cable in a loop straight into a USB hub along with the mousepad cable going through a cable clip is very satisfying to look at. This is a perfect example of creating art from cable management. You know, if you can't hide it, why not create something pleasing to look at, right? For audio output, he's rocking the Logitech G560 RGB speakers and the G Pro X headphones. And then for input, he's got an AT2035 microphone hooked up to his Scarlett AI underneath the desk. I guess while I'm down here, I do want to point out the exceptional cable management. We got cable racks, nets, and a bunch of cable clips to help route the wires. Excellent work. And finally, we've got the Beast Custom PC powering it all, featuring the i9 9900K with 32 gigs of the beautiful Trident Royale sticks and a Gigabyte Aorus RTX 2080 Ti in vertical. I can't quite wrap my head around why I like this setup so much. Maybe it's the lighting or the quality of the pictures. I think it just looks like a really nice and complete setup. Thank you, Carlo, for sharing this with us. Changing up the gears a bit, we have a beautiful triple monitor setup from Sandeep with that retro synthwave color scheme. You'll love to see it. So do you guys see the way he installed the acoustic panels on the wall? Now this is something I can get behind. The fact that he put in some extra effort to improve the aesthetics of an otherwise boring acoustic panel. I love seeing this type of creativity, someone who takes something so ordinary or boring and turns it into decoration or art. Just to be clear, I don't have anything against acoustic panels if executed right. I mean, it's nothing super exciting or over the top, but it's miles better than installing it the normal way. So Sandeep is an information security engineer from Malaysia that built this setup for gaming, studying, and watching content. He does all that on all three of his monitors that he mounted against the wall. We got a 29-inch ultrawide in the middle, sandwiched by two 22-inch monitors from LG. And even though we have two different models, I do love that he's stuck with a symmetrical layout. Underneath that, we got the Razer Black Widow V2 with the Razer PBT keycaps and two pairs of mice. The MX Master 2S for work and the Basilisk Ultimate for gaming. Stellar work with hiding the cables from all the peripherals, by the way. Moving on to audio, the setup is powered by a single Sonic Gear soundbar and sub with two pairs of headphones that he switches between. The Sony WH-1000s for music and the Kraken X's for gaming. In addition to those, he also uses the Razer Hammerheads sometimes for wireless gaming. And finally, I do want to take a look at the custom PC that's powering it all. It's such a good looking system inside the LAN Cool 2 case. Really great choice of colors to complement the setup, and it's even got some custom fan grills up top as well. Very nice. Overall, a very clean and well thought out setup. Thank you, Sandeep, for sharing this with us. Now here's a setup that I'm actually pretty excited to check out because I can't remember the last time I've seen a setup powered by an NZXT H1 PC or any mini ITX PC for that matter. I just love how he balanced it with the PS5 on the other side and stuck with a beautiful white theme that is complemented nicely with a light wood countertop. Actually, now when I think about it, we do have ourselves another Star Wars Revan themed setup with the red and purple. Just like Alex from episode 258, except this one is more on the minimalistic side. So the setup was built for gaming and working from home, and I just love everything about it. He's got a 43-inch TV mounted up top that's connected to his PS5, and the bottom ultrawide is the main display. Below that, we got the HyperX Alloy Origins Core keyboard with a Model O mouse in white, with beautiful cable work through the desk. For everyday tasks and listening to music, we got the Luna Eclipse E25 HDs, but when it's time to game, he puts on the Astro A50s that he stores in one of the Alex units when not in use. I do want to point out the exceptional cable management underneath the desk, although I would have used a few raceways instead of cable clips just because it's a lot easier to replace or add in cables if you decide to upgrade or change anything later down the line, but you did an awesome job nonetheless. What a better PC to fit the theme of a minimalistic setup than a build inside the H1. We have a Ryzen 5 3600 with 32 gigs of RAM and the RTX 2080 Super Founders Edition. That is one of the cleanest mini ITX builds I have seen in a minute. I just love the subtle decorative pieces to maintain balance and symmetry, but above all, I do love the colors and the minimalism of this setup the most. Superb work, Andreas, and thank you for sharing this with us. There are two types of people in this world. People who prefer a multi-monitor setup and people who like to consolidate all the monitors into a single super ultra-wide. And well, that's what we are seeing here. Timur from Vienna, Austria built this minimalistic super ultra-wide setup for pretty much everything from gaming to video editing and even schoolwork. I know that super ultra-wide and minimalistic probably don't belong in the same sentence, but I'll allow it this one time. The star of the show is of course the Odyssey G9 from Samsung that's been mounted to the desk. And for peripherals, we got the Black Widow Chroma V2 keyboard and an Iron Claw RGB wireless mouse. I'm curious as to why you left the extra cables on the top when you could have just tucked away the excess underneath the desk. There aren't any speakers for the setup, so he relies on the Void Pro wireless headset for audio. And finally, we got a beast custom water-cooled rig powering it all, featuring the Ryzen 9 3900X and an RTX 2080 Super Founders Edition. I actually really like these open air cases quite a bit. I think it adds a really cool, unique factor to your builds. I just love how the color scheme matches the rest of the setup as well. Job well done on the super ultra wide setup, Timur, and thanks for coming on the show. And that will do it for today's video. As always, make sure you guys comment below. Let me know which of these setups was your absolute favorite and why. As always, if you guys are enjoying a new season, consider dropping a like before you head out, as it does help out the channel and it will feed the algorithm gods. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love your beautiful faces, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.